Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Texans get the win 23-20. I mean, the whole 4 o'clock witching hour thing, the whole thing was wild. I wasn't actually watching Red Zone. I was trying to, popcorn between each game live. But I hear Red Zone was getting crazy. This was one of them as well. Texans moved to 6-2 with the win. Colts fall to 4-4. There's some Anthony Richardson futility discussion in this one as well. A lot to discuss here, but the Texans escaped the win. They tried to hand it away, man. Fumbling, a handoff. This has happened a bunch. It ruins all of your, intelligible analysis is when teams like the 49ers just fumble, like they're up a score and they just fumble in the red zone against Arizona. The Texans tried to do that, running the clock out, running the game out, and they fumble, give the Colts another opportunity. But unlike Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson was unable to get the final Hail Mary out of his hand.
I don't know what you're talking about. Richardson had like 90 more passing yards than Jared Goff yesterday. I think everything's fine.
That's a good point. Richardson was 2 for 15 for 81 yards in the first half. As I said on the review show last night, I want to start something. I want it to catch on. I want box scoreigami. Box scoreigami. So everybody said when the box score is so extreme and ridiculous, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't literally have to be like, this is the only time we've ever seen this. But I like the extreme box score stats, right? When Jerome Bettis goes 5 carries for -3 yards with, was it 5 carries, -1 yard, 3 touchdowns that one game? Box scoreigami. I love that. Anthony Richardson going 2 for 15 for 81 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that has to be.
You need the Pro Football Reference people to get started.
Will they sponsor this for us?
They reached out to me wanting me to be a brand ambassador for them at one point, and I just
didn't
forgot.
Ignore them.
I may have ignored them. Not
all right. As check the mic. Let's be brand ambassadors for.
I just forgot to get back to them.
Let's be brand ambassadors for Football Reference.
But and
look, let's get box scoreigami.
Hey Sam, we're currently looking for Pro Football Reference brand ambassadors. But point being, you need them to start fighting. Let's do a deal, right? I'll be your brand ambassador if you create Steve's box scoreigami thing.
All right, let's do that. Let's do it. Now, the two for 15, as you mentioned on the show last night. I mean, it's not all on Anthony Richardson. He threw a couple nice passes in there. He threw two dimes into the end zone that were incomplete. So it's not all horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there are 2 drops in there that came on Richardson's 2 big-time throws. He had 3 big-time throws in the game, 2 of which were dropped. So that's going to skew your stats. Of course, Gibson. On the other side of the ledger is the big play that he had. Like he had 81 yards, 60 of which or whatever came on the one play to Josh Downs, which was wide the hell open, and either one of us could have made that pass. So, the stats giveth, the stats taketh away.
Yeah. We've got Josh Dubois. I've got all sorts of completion percentage. Oh, so Josh Dubois used the same tweet I did, actually. Anthony Richardson currently has the lowest completion percentage of any quarterback in the NFL of the last 20 years, other than Josh Freeman in 2013. Josh Freeman was at 42.9%. Anthony Richardson is at 44.4%. Freeman's 2013, of course, and one of the people in my mentions reminded me of this, the worst quarterback game I've ever seen in my life, because the person in my mention said the same thing. I said, yeah, I think that's universally acknowledged, right? Was it the Giants had just signed him or something?
The Vikings, right?
The Vikings. It was against the Giants.
Yeah.
The Vikings signed him, threw him out there on Monday Night Football, and he must have missed 30 throws.
Right.
I mean, it was the worst. Poor guy. It was the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony Richardson's not playing that poorly.
Richardson, his stats are mind-blowing because every single one of them looks like it belongs in a box score from like the 50s. Right, when passing hadn't really become a consistent, like when that cliche of when you pass the ball, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad. When that was like
it was true back then.
Right, when that was like the genuine prevailing line of thought, that's what Richardson's stats look like. Where they look like they belong in a world where passing itself as a concept is a psychotically dangerous, ridiculously volatile thing to be doing.
All right, I got some numbers for you then. So there's that one with lowest completion percentage since 2006. Josh Freeman, Anthony Richardson. Then you have Derek Anderson, Tim Tebow, and John Skelton.
Wow.
In 2011, we got the John Skelton mention in.
Drink
John Skelton. So we've got that. Anthony Richardson currently has, in the PFF era, our friends at PFF, the highest average depth of target in a season at this very moment. It is Anthony Richardson at 13.3, followed by 2011 Tim Tebow at 13.2. Go Gators. And then 2006 Michael Vick, 2010 Vince Young, 2022 Jameis Winston, and then I added a sixth in there. Do you know who's sixth on this list? Highest average depth of target in a season since 2006. You won't know. You won't know.
Okay.
2009, Bruce Gradkowski.
Bruce.
11.7. Former colleague Bruce Gradkowski, current OC of the St. Louis Battlehawks, if they keep him around, I think.
And like,
if I raise my voice high enough, I'll sound less confident.
Motivational Instagrammer.
And new motivational. Is it Instagram? Has he taken it to Instagram, or is it just Twitter now?
No, it's definitely on Instagram. That's where I've been seeing it.
Former colleague Bruce.
I follow too many people on Twitter to ever find it on Twitter, but he's definitely out there on IG.
I should follow him for the inspiration.
Even just in this game, right? So average depth of target for C.J. Stroud, 7.8. Average yards per attempt for C.J. Stroud, 7.7. Almost the same. Average depth of target for Anthony Richardson, 16.5 yards downfield. That's ludicrous in and of itself. Average yards per attempt out of those 16.5 yard average depth of target, 5.5. So he's taking, on average, he's shooting 16.5 yards downfield, and that's producing on average a 5.5 yard gain.
Yeah, it's all wild stuff, man. And look, I think two of his best throws.
Yes.
A.D. Mitchell in the end zone where he gets knocked out of bounds by, I think, Stingley.
Their ability to not connect this season, Richardson and A.D. Mitchell, is mind-blowing.
So that's one of them. And then the other one, Devin White made his NFL debut. His season debut for the Texans. He got whooped on the deep ball to Mike Goodson. Had 2 steps on him, and Goodson dropped it. So Richardson had some good throws in there. The worst play of the game came right before the half. Was it a tie game at the time? As I'm checking, it was 10-10. And just before the half, they're backed up. The Colts throw the ball twice. One of them...
Tyler Goodson, you meant.
Tyler Goodson. Who did I say? Mike?
Mike.
Yeah, whatever. How many Goodson running backs are there? 2.
How many can there be?
Mike and Tyler. Thank you for correcting me, though. That's good. -1 for me. Misname. Told you. I told you I would.
Correcting the misinformation.
I appreciate it.
On
now
the
we're
fly.
good. Now we're clear.
Now that we don't have our live data checker and Ben.
I know.
Fact
Ben,
checker.
do you still watch us or what? What the heck? It's probably working.
Working.
So it's 10-10 before the half.
Yeah.
Richardson throws a near interception, which wasn't on him. Receiver fell down, right? Next pass, though, completely on him. Jalen Petrie picks him off, and it sets up beautiful C.J. Stroud to Tank Dell touchdown. Great throw by C.J. Stroud for a 7-yard touchdown. I mean, that was just bad. That was bad. You might want to call it bad game management by the Colts, but also clearly a bad decision by Anthony Richardson and throwing a pick just before the half. Put the Texans up 17-10. They went up 20-10. Colts did their best to get back into it, but it wasn't enough. And so that was a huge play just before the half. And that's what, put Richardson at 2 for 15 at the half. Joe Mixon had a really nice 14-yard touchdown run. Interesting on that. Kenyon Green, starting left guard, had been benched. Jared Patterson came in for him, makes a beautiful block on this play, but it comes out of that game on this play with a concussion. Kenyon Green had to come back in. He's really struggled. I mean, D'Amico Ryans had talked. Remember last week the Texans were really struggling in pass protection, got whooped by the Packers offensively. They said they might make some changes. Well, Kenyon Green was the change, but he had to come back in after the concussion to Jared Patterson. And then just wanted to highlight Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. Tons of pressures, big sacks by Danielle Hunter, big plays
Anderson
throughout the game.
Had a really good one as well.
Yes.
Those two were absolute monsters for them. The Colts got a ton of pressure on C.J. Stroud as well, actually. Like, their defense did a reasonable job of hanging tough for a lot of this game. They had him under pressure a lot. The other two things coming out of this game. Number one, Stephon Diggs goes down with not quite a non-contact injury because he was sort of engaged in a block at the time, but a non-contact in the way of the contact was not to the knee. He's just engaged in a block, and then suddenly it's like, oh man, my knee's sore. As far as I can tell at the moment, there's no update as to how severe that is, but non-contact knee injuries tend to be not good. So that's a real concern for a team that's already down Nico Collins. You're like, oh, it's okay. We still got Tank Dell. We still got Stephon Diggs. Now you might not have Stephon Diggs. That could be a real problem for the Texans going forward. And then the other thing, the only thing anyone's going to be talking about today is Richardson tapped himself out of the game because he was tired.
Yeah, we had to bring that up as well. So it's second and long. He's scrambling around and gets stopped for, I don't know if it was officially a sack or a 0-yard gain or whatever, but he's running around forever, and he taps his helmet, he tapped himself out. Mm-hmm. And our guy, Ari Mayrov, says, QB Anthony Richardson, on taking himself out of the game, quote, tired, I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running there that I did, so I just told Shane I needed a break right there, end quote. So he tapped out on a second down play. It set up a third and long play. Flacco came in, they did a quick handoff and set up a field goal attempt. I saw Pat McAfee didn't like this. Pat was saying that's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing in the locker room.
Yeah.
Now, I swear I've seen this before with Michael Vick.
You need to.
So
you
I
said
went,
that. You need to.
I have to. So I last night I was supposed to be grinding film, and I'm over there knocking out. Like, I'm looking through 02 to 05 YouTube videos to try to find this Michael Vick. I even went to the foremost authority on NFL football between 01 and 08. I went to Nate Tice.
Okay.
And I DM'd him, and I said, I swear I've seen this before. He didn't remember offhand. He asked if McNabb had done it. I said, no, McNabb, he just probably puked and rallied, right? If he ran around, he would puke on the field and he would stick it out, right? He would not tap out.
Not to give drive-bys to McNabb on this show, but it just kind of sound like the thing McNabb would do.
What?
Just to tap himself
out.
Oh,
no, he would not. The man would puke on the field and play through it, right? I swear, and I haven't found it yet. I might do some research this week.
Yeah.
I swear I've seen plays where Michael Vick ran around forever. It was a 40-yard run, and he missed a snap or two. You know, Matt Schaub comes in for a handoff or whatever it might be. We don't have player participation from back then. It's tough to find. But I swear I've seen it before with Vick. So is this what are your thoughts on this? Because the guy was running around like crazy. You don't see these types of plays often. And he basically said, yeah, I'm tired. I need a breather on this third and long.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that.
Which, by the way, I misreported him as being injured, right? Because I'm watching the game.
Well, it looked like he was.
It's on mute.
Right.
I'm seeing the replays. They're showing the hit. So I said, hey, he's out of the game injured because, look, he gets injured every game. But he was just tired. So I misreported that too.
It looked like so it was a sort of quintessential Richardson play because he looked like he was about to get sacked, shucks off a sack from like a defensive tackle, right? Like shrugs out of this.
Yeah. What
was a dead play behind the line of scrimmage, takes off running, and then like launches himself into a hit, from a linebacker. Like, dude, and it's like he's got himself injured again by like trying to take on this guy in the open field when, just take the gain or take the positive part of the play and bail, right? But it wasn't. He was just tired and just wanted out of the play. Now the problem is, as you said, if it has happened in the past with Michael Vick, and I think what has definitely happened is Vick has taken off, scrambled 85 yards to gain 4, and then is wrecked for the next play, and so the next play is a draw, right, to the running back or whatever. The problem is, as you said, I haven't found what was the play. What was the actual down and distance? Have you verified that? But if the next play was third and long, you can't just hand it off to Jonathan Taylor, right? You need the quarterback to play again. So that, I think, is his problem.
Was just before.
This
was in the first half?
There's Pat McAfee's tweet. I had never seen an NFL quarterback tap out while still being healthy until watching Anthony Richardson. The quarterback is your franchise. The message it sends is loud and influential. I do think that's probably true. In this, like, the NFL locker room is still a world of you go out in your shield, you play until you can't play anymore. If Richardson simply was like, no, that was quite a lot of running, I'm tired, I'm going to need a break for a second, that can't be a good signal to send, especially for a guy struggling as badly as he is right now. It would be one thing if he was playing absolutely lights out, if he was 100% carrying the team, if it was all on his shoulders, he's dragging them to victories they're not supposed to have. It's an entirely different thing if it's not clear that he's a better option than Joe Flacco right now, which is where they are.
It was third and goal from the 23.
The upcoming down.
The upcoming down.
Okay.
So all of his running around on second and 20, I think it was second and 23. I don't know what they officially gave him, 0 yards, 1 yard, whatever. It was second and goal from forever.
Right.
He gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. taps out on a 3rd and goal from the 23.
So that's the problem, is that
like the play's not going anywhere. You're not scoring a touchdown on that. You're setting up a field goal. That particular play doesn't matter.
Right. But I think it's easier to tap out if you know that the next play is second and whatever, and you can just hand the ball off to a nothing run. It's a little more difficult if theoretically it's still a critical down. Now I agree with you in practical terms. 3rd and goal from forever is not amounting to anything, but you can't just the quarterback. It looks even worse if the quarterback just like we just handed the ball off because the quarterback was tired.
I think it looks worse if it's 3rd and 3.
I mean,
he's down, and he's like, nah, man, I'm out.
Yeah.
Too tired.
It looks even worse if it's actually a manageable and an achievable 3rd down. But the fact that it was 3rd down means that you can't just do what Vick may have done before and said, I'm tired, the next play has to be a handoff.
What Vick may have done, as you said, I don't want to accuse Michael Vick of this, and I wouldn't even say this from a critical standpoint. I just remember seeing him exhausted.
No, I think that part is
when he would run.
I think that part is true.
Yeah.
The questionable part that you need to fact check is if he ever actually tapped himself out of the game because he was tired.
Yeah, he may have been exhausted and just like handed ball off a couple times.
That's what I'm saying.
Like they couldn't run the same.
Because that's the alternative,
yeah.
right? Like you're saying, okay, if Richardson shouldn't have come off because he was tired, what should he have done? The obvious answer is, well, just hand the ball off the next play, right, and recover. But that might not, like that, I don't think is really, I mean, it's possible, but I don't think that would be a good look either because it's 3rd down and theoretically you're still trying to, score.
The only other thing coming out of this game was Josh Downs is awesome.
Yep.
And made a beautiful catch, put him down at the 1. He had the busted coverage, 60-plus yarder. But Josh Downs, very good football player.
In the world of, interesting stats, did you know this is only the 2nd time ever that the Houston Texans have swept the Colts?
Did not know that.
There you go.
Since 2002. Since our college days, Sam.
Since their inception.
Good for the Texans. We'll get to see them again Thursday night. Sorry for less Texans coverage maybe there, but Stroud had a couple of really nice throws. Loved that touchdown. And like I said, the defensive line with some big plays to slow down the Colts and to sack Richardson 5 times in this game.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.